that we are the American Indians. Copper color Indians, baby. A real Indian, American Indian is me, not from Africa. Remember that.
African Americans here, but they recently moved here from places like Kenya, Ethiopia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Zaire. But now the brother whose family's lived in this country for generations, occupying space in all the locations, New York, Miami, LA, Detroit, Chicago, even if he's wearing a dashiki and sporting an afro. And if you go to Africa in search of your race, you'll find out quick, you're not an African American. You're just a black American in Africa taking up space. Why you keep trying to attach yourself to a continent where even if you got the chance to go and you went, most people that wouldn't even claim you as one of them, as a purebred daughter or son of them.
And we are not Africans. We are not African. Are you an African, baby? I'm not no African. Nigga, you're a
long live
Yeah. These are my memoirs. Light up a cigar, smoke up the memories as I sit and dust them off. Why do people say it's just to piss you off? Ignore them, no call button and then dress too par. Now they can't test the guards, had to defy the odds. It only get tougher back then. We thought times was hard. Told them don't write me off. Told them don't type at all. To all the ones that gave up, this a reply to y'all. That wavy haired kid that you knew been on a tear since. The cries was lower than the laughter now that I'm hearing. The praise for staying committed to something they played with. It was always about us, it's never about who's your favorite. Took my insecurities and made my future more secure. The way we moving, it's like we really been here before. The proof is in the progress from the year before. Furthermore, we wanted to further things more. They took another route, so what you think we kings for? No angel ever said, yo, who these wings for? Ain't no champion ever said, who these rings for? So don't question what God doing, who you live for. Start accepting who you are and what you do it for. Doing less, doing more, it's really either or. Meet them halfway when one close, here go another door. Here go your dreams, what you running for? Head full of steam, cause you want it, huh? But it's in your genes, you was born a star. Yeah, damn, we done came far. The blessings soon pay off. I don't get a day off. Feel like the playoffs, they like, when y'all gon' take off? Dale got laid off, now we focused on trademarks. We just making hits after hits, no aid off. Now they wanna eat off the same plate that I ate off. They really be brainwashed, I sold ain't for trade-offs. Listen to these verses, these are thoughts that I brainstorm. People do me wrong, but nowadays I just pray for them. I've been under pressure, you can't tell cause I stay calm. I need peace and quiet, all I hear is the rain falls. Now all I see is green like my name was Draymond.
Time's been moving slowly, so we already in too deep. Can't get no sleep on each other, heavy teasing all day. And when the sun sets, you asking me to come through, kick it with you. Night turn to morning dew, then you both already know your place is my place now. My place is your place, let's face it. Baby, you know all the places.
Hey, y'all, smash the like button. I'm not wasting no time today. I'm just not going to waste no time today. So let me just get this off and put this back up. Because I'm going to go over a few things today. We're going to talk about the racial classifications, citizenship, census takers, Indians not taxed, interpreters, and translators. So Uh, first, I had this up so you could look at it. Wow. And shout out to everybody in the chat room: Juice, Phyllis Brown, Agricon, Lee Butts. Oh, I got some families last name Butts. Damian Butts and Dougie Butts. Dougie passed away. Yep, I'm related to the Butts. Sure enough. Um, just like that, the Butts. It's my family, my bloodline. Wallace Carroll and Jeremy Worcester. And a mic check. How I sound, y'all? I sound okay? Could y'all give me a 1 if I sound all right? So, cool. All right, I'm gonna get it right into it. So, thinking. Oh wow. Hi, Lisa. Okay, Shay Mabau. That's funny because um, my family last name and also on my dad's side, their last name is Butts, and on my grandmother's side, it's funny. We related to the Lees, Lee. That's funny. Anyway, um, I I want to first, get us to start thinking with, common sense. All this is common sense. Hey, Lady Libra, y'all smash the like button. All this is common sense. You can't you can't mess up things that took place in history and then try to change it. You can't. And this is exactly why. These events that took place here in the Americas, these are factual events that took place. Seriously. Starting back in 1493 and 92 area when the Spanish invaded the Americas. Way back then is when we were invaded as aboriginals to this landmass. Hi, Romani. You have to look at these. You can't make shit up. You Spanish invaded Americas. That's why we got people that speak Spanish. Puerto Ricans, Latinos, whatever you want to call them. All right? Facts. Great Britain and the Americas. All right? The French and Indian War. So you got Spain, French, Indian. Then you don't forget about the Dutch. I just read that to you yesterday. And look at these dates. The Revolutionary War. And then the ratifications after they won the war. When the territories started to become states. Through the ratifications and admissions process, when it was taking over the land, encroaching and just, yeah. See, people think this Indian stuff started with the removal in 1830. No, this shit started way back in 1400s and gradually worked its way up. Then you got the Civil War. That's a straight up Negro war. Negro Indians. And then in the 1860s, starting in 1863, they started reconstruction, everything, every town, municipality, state, they started reconstructing the towns. And that consists of kicking people off their lands if they didn't want to comply with the way things were going to be reconstructed and the way this landmass was going to start being run. All these local towns, municipalities, all those was tribes, tribal areas, tribal lands, tribal territories, all over these states. So we got all that intact, right? We got these dates intact. Think common sense now. Now, let's do the things. Now, should I put that back up? Yeah, I think I will put it back up just for a minute. Now, you have let's look at the Indian Removal Act. Let's just look at it for a minute. 1830 to 1860. All right. Prior to 1830, y'all do know that prior to 1830, we have we have 1800 census sheets. 1800. I got one. When you do your genealogy, you have the 1800 census. Can you please give me a 1 if you know that there is an 1800 census? That was the second census. The first one was 1790. Give me a 1 if you know about thank you. Because I got one. So if you got an 1800 census, I'm glad you guys are seeing this. You got an 1800 census. This is before Reconstruction. I'm sorry. Yeah, it is before before Reconstruction. This is before the Indians were even removed off their lands. All right? Because the Indian Removal Act was in 1830. So if you got an 1800 census, right? 1800 census. And your grandpa and your granny is living in Indian territories, because Indian territory was all throughout the land other than the colonial states, the 13 colonies. It was all Indian territory. The rest of the land was Indian territory. Okay. And your granny and your grandpa was living in Indian territory on their own land, because on the sheets it tells you whether you're renting or owning. And your granny and grandpa were like, I always say, the lucky 13. 13 kids living on their own land. On your own land. And you got a census sheet that says granny, grandpa, and 13 kids. How the hell are you living in your own land? And Indian territories all across these states. And you're not the Indian. This is before removal. How are you possibly? Are you saying that the Indians went over in Africa and said, hey, y'all, I got some land. You want to come and live on these damn 160 acres of land or 40 acres of land? Come on, y'all. You could come from Africa. Could you tell me if that makes any sense? Well, can I get one volunteer? It's better when you communicate with somebody on the panel. So I'm going to put the link in the chat, because this is one of those conversations that you need to have. And Rob, you're not included in this. So don't hit the link. If Rob gets out of hand, you guys, you know what to do with the wrench. So can somebody voluntarily come on the panel and dialogue with me? Because this is one, I'm holding a dialogue conversation. So if somebody can volunteer and hit the link, I could move forward. I would really appreciate it if you could. That would be very helpful to me. You do not have to turn your camera on, but once you get back here, I need to make sure it's you. So you're going to need to turn it on in the back just for a hot second so I can make sure that you're a real person and not someone that's going to come up and porn bomb me. Oh, good. Okay, so we got Lisa. That's cool. Nice.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you real good. How you doing, Lisa?
I'm okay. I'm on my treadmill.
Okay, that's fine. Long as you don't pass out on the panel.
No, I won't.
Okay, so good. I got somebody good to dialogue with. Okay, so Lisa, in looking at the census sheet for the 1800 census, the 1810 census, the 1820 census, all these census sheets, that's 30 years.
Okay.
Prior to removing Indians from their lands.
And my great grandmother had land.
Correct. So if your great grandmother and them, they had land like everybody's did, all before the Indian Removal Act.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's when the madness took place. And you're living in your own home with all your kids. Back then, our families had from 13 to 20 damn kids. And you're living in Indian territory. How is it possible that Africans are living like that? Does that make any sense?
No. Well, there's a lot of things that don't make sense, but in their eyes, it makes sense. Yeah.
So, you're not living in Indian territory unless you are the Indian. Now, understand this. The colonial states during that time had an agreement. Okay, I do see Kusa, and I'm not going to get porn bombed. Good. So now, back during that time, the federal government had a deal with the Indians that they wouldn't sell, to any foreigners. That was an agreement. This is before
the
Indian Removal Act.
Yep.
So, they didn't sell no land to no Africans.
That's true.
Now,
they wouldn't know they wouldn't even know where to go to get land.
Exactly. And so now the next thing, when the census takers first started going around, and I have that, these census takers, they needed 2 to 3 Negroes to go around with them to interpret, because all the Negroes spoke nothing but, let me get it up, all the Negroes spoke nothing but, here we go, let's just talk about it. I'm going to read this. Let me see, I'm going to put that here. I'm going to read this. I checked out. The citizens of the 5 tribes watch with a jealousy. Now, these are the citizens, okay, of the 5 tribes. They're not Indians. They're just citizens of the 5 tribes. Watch with a jealous eye each movement of the United States or its agents. A serious difficulty was met in the answer to Are you an Indian? Because the citizens didn't like that shit. Because they know damn well they wasn't Indians. Under the laws of the 5 tribes, a person white in color and features is frequently an Indian by remote degree of blood. Remote degree of blood, okay? Meaning far, far away. Like they was lying, and maybe they wasn't lying. Like they 5th or 6th generation grandma, but I don't see how that's possible if they came over. They didn't get over here until a particular time. But anyway, so or by adoption. So white people were Indian by a remote degree of blood, meaning very distant. They probably got a little Negro ancestor, or by adoption. Somebody probably adopted them because we did that. There are many whites claiming to be Indian whose claims have not as yet been acted on by the nations. Negroes are frequently met who speak nothing but Indian languages and are Indians by tribal law and custom. All right. And there are others who call themselves Indians who have not yet been so acknowledged by the tribes. These difficulties surrounding the taking of this census were augmented by the fact that in enrolling the Indians, it frequently occurred that it was necessary to equip 2 and sometimes 3 interpreters to accompany the enumerators to converse with the Indians in the same locality. So they had to get the niggas to go around. Now you clearly see it. Negroes are frequently met who speak nothing but Indian language. They don't speak nothing else but Indian languages. Why the hell are Negroes speaking nothing but Indian languages? That's all they speak. Okay. Why didn't they say Africans speak
because
nothing but
they
Indian
weren't
language?
Africans.
Exactly. So I'm just saying, how the hell you need the
That's
Negro
right.
to go around, because in different areas we spoke different dialects. So like they could have borrowed some Negroes and say, yo, I need you to come to New Jersey because I just can't understand these goddamn people. And they needed them. Even I read to you that they needed the Negroes to interpret when they was at the docks where they was doing the trading. They needed to bring the niggas with them. They had to use them so that they could interpret at the docks when they was doing the trading for furs and shit.
There's a book out on
Why
fragility.
they didn't take the white people to interpret? Obviously, they couldn't. They still can't understand us when we talk. But I ain't even finished there. So if you got to bring Negroes around, they said the Negroes didn't speak nothing but Indian languages. Why is that? How come only the Negroes speak nothing but Indian languages? Can you
Because they
please
are the
answer?
Indians.
Are you sure about that, Lisa?
Yes, I am. Back then, the Caucasians were very envious of the colored folk. A person wrote a book about it, and because the black people had so much. And so they were very jealous of that. And they wanted to have the same things that they did. So it makes sense for all the trials and tribulations that occurred is because of that jealousy.
So that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, I would have to say, I mean, why would they even write that in a newspaper article? Do you understand that newspaper articles are primary resources?
Because
There's a
it's true.
newspaper. Exactly. So, I mean, my thing is, you got to look at the common sense things. Okay, you got a bunch of niggas that's living on farmlands with their families, owning land, their own farms, and their own house, their own land. And then you got to knock on the door when the census taker comes. Could you walk with me around the neighborhood so I can understand what these people saying? Because otherwise, they just going to put down what they want on them census sheets. They couldn't spell right. So they spelled what they heard, their country accent.
Who were the people that came around? Were they Caucasians?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they were this was during in the colonial. Oh, I could put the link back in the chat for you. Paste.
Hi, Big Philly.
Hey, big dog.
Much love and respect, Grand Rising, Sister Betty. I can't see. Let me. Lisa.
Lisa.
Much love and respect to you and the family always.
How are you?
I'm doing good, sister.
That's
Much
good.
respect. I love your topic, Sister Betty.
Thank you.
Yeah, like it's common sense. If we were the ones to communicate with them, that would have to be our communication we had together, right?
Correct.
We're the same entity.
Correct.
It ain't hard. Common sense.
It's not hard. Yeah. And it's like, it's not hard to understand this. I mean, you're not going to write this shit in the newspaper. And Negroes are frequently met who speak nothing but Indian language, and are Indians by tribal law and custom. Do you understand what that means? And are Indians by tribal law and custom. Does anybody know what that means? Negroes are frequently met who speak nothing but Indian languages and are Indians by tribal law and custom. Okay. I thought you do you know what being an Indian by tribal law and custom is? Does anybody know what that means before I pull it up?
Basically, it's like a census. The same thing with census.
Certified.
Facts. Well, let's look at it.
Yes, ma'am.
What are tribal laws called? Constitutions, charters, and codes. Tribal constitutions and codes are the heart of self-government for over 500 federally recognized tribes and are the lifeblood of Indian sovereignty. Do you understand that? Damn it.
I can't hear you, Sister Betty. You're going out.
Okay.
I can hear it clear. You may have to go out and come back in, sister, because I heard everything she said. And it's a fact.
I'm telling you, what are tribal laws? They said Negroes are Indians by tribal law and customs. What is tribal law? Constitutions, charters, and codes. Tribal constitution and codes are the heart of self-government for over 500 federally recognized tribes and are the lifeblood of
the lifeline, basically the lifeline.
Correct, of Indian sovereignty. Each tribal government operates according to its own constitutional rules. If that don't tell you what tribal law and customs is, of course, because that's who the niggas was. We didn't speak nothing but Indian language. Negroes spoke nothing but Indian languages. The foreigners needed the Negro. So if the foreigners, now bust this out. If the foreigners needed the Negroes to interpret, okay, if the foreigners, okay, these are the colonizers. If you needed the Negroes to interpret the Indians all around these areas, how the hell did you bring the Negroes here? You mean to tell me that the Negro, the Africans you brought here spoke Indian language like here?
And they knew the land? No, they didn't.
You mean to tell me the same people you supposedly brought here on the slave ship only speaks Indian languages that's equivalent from here in Africa? Make that make sense. They spoke the language of this land. So why do you need them to go around? These can't be the people that you brought here. How? Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. I'm with you.
You
don't make any sense.
So that's why Obama wanted to move Negro from the birth certificate, because you figure this shit out. You can't wipe that newspaper out.
Nope.
Because why didn't it say that they brought Mongoloids around or all these other people around? Why? How come?
Or Slavs.
Are you trying to tell me that you needed the Negroes to communicate with them? You needed the Negroes to communicate with them?
Pookie and
They
Ray Ray
wasn't even around. The sad part,
Exactly.
they wasn't even around.
We talking, all right? The
Fragile.
Census Takers.
They still was
Why?
in the Siberian Peninsula trying to come here.
This is why I say I'm not playing with these fools. You got, excuse me, obviously they needed me to go around because I had Negro on my birth certificate. My mother had Negro on her birth certificate. So they needed me and my mother to go around and interpret.
But one thing you have to remember is that these people that are claiming being Native American, they have a lot to lose, and the people that are behind them have a lot to lose. So they have no other choice but to keep the lie up.
Well, they can't keep it up for long with what's going
and
around.
that's what I've been saying.
Kusa, turn your camera on, honey. I want to make sure. Because people are trying to
steal
steal your
they're working with the corporation.
Oh, yeah, they're part of the corporation. That's who they are.
Turn your camera on real quick, Kusa. I just want to make sure
that
it's
is a
you.
creation
Okay,
from
that's Kusa.
them.
So Kusa, if Kusa, you walking around, why they need the Negroes? They said the Negroes didn't speak nothing but Indian language, right? Indian languages. That's all we spoke. We didn't speak nothing
I'm
else but
choppy
Indian
as
language.
crap. My sickness is so bad right now.
Yeah, your signal's bad.
I get back on, but I am choppy as hell right now.
So I'm just saying, why they needed the Negro, and it said that the Negroes was the Indians by tribal law and custom, and then I went and looked that up. It has to do with the bloodline, lifelong blood. There it is. I'm done.
Once again, they need us. They always need us.
And Stevie Wonder can see that, you know. I mean, it's obvious. If you're going to come to America where we speak American, that's another thing. I think we should stop saying English and start calling them.
We didn't speak nothing but,
you know, if you're going to come over here and bring some Africans, how did the Africans know the American language?
Facts.
If you're from Africa, I mean, Stevie Wonder can see through that.
Facts. And here's another thing. Wait a minute. The Dutch guy that just apologized to his people for slavery. This shit, I'm telling you how it don't add. I'm about to show you right now. He didn't even speak English. He had an interpreter interpreting what he was saying when he was apologizing for the enslavement and stuff. So now, this brings me to the other funny stuff. You just got to look at stuff where they put their damn foot in their damn mouth. Now,
Sister Bethy.
Yes.
There's a woman that just moved in back of me, and her family's from France, and she told me that the tribe that her mother came from is the tribe that helped Christopher Columbus. Now, I don't know how true it is, but and she told me straight up, she says, I don't know why you people call yourself black. So I thought that was funny, but
Or the other countries know. So let's go here. So now, this takes me to this, y'all. This is the funny shit. Between 1492 and 1880, okay, we got the census sheets. Between 2 and 5.5 million American Indians were enslaved in the Americas. In addition to 12.5 million African slaves. This is the funny shit, y'all. While American Indians had been forced into slavery and servitude as early as 1636. That's why I keep telling y'all. It was not until King Philip's War that American Indians were enslaved in large numbers. The 1675 to 1676 war pitted American Indian leader King Philip, also known as Metacom. See, he adopted that name, King Philip, but his really name was Metacom, and his allies against the English colonial settlers. During the war, New England colonies routinely shipped American Indians as slaves to Barbados, Bermuda, Jamaica, the Azores, Spain, Tangier, and North Africa. While Africans who were enslaved did not know where they would be taken, American Indians understood that they could be sent to Caribbean plantations and faced extremely harsh treatment far from their homes and communities. Fear of this fate spurred some American Indians to pledge to fight to death, while others surrendered, hoping to avoid being sent overseas. Now, let's look at this shit. We know that our ancestors were shipped out to Barbados, to South America, basically.
To the islands, right?
Right. We know that. Now, here's the funny part. 12.5 million African slaves was brought to the Americas. Okay. Now, you know, I read to you, it was 12.5 million Africans supposedly brought to the Americas. Now, this is where I tell you that you got to read between the lines when people be talking. The Dutch. Now, 12.5 million slaves was brought here. The Dutch said he brought 500,000 one day, and then another 500,000. How much is that?
$1 million something.
All right. When you add up the numbers of so-called Africans that's supposed to be been brought over here,
it doesn't add up.
It does not, and it will not add up, because you got the Dutch, you got all the European nations. You add up all the slaves they supposed to be brought over here from Africa. Africa should be empty.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
Empty. And when they brought these Africans over here, it's supposed to have been in the 1800s. So how they automatically can speak in Indian language?
Exactly.
They didn't. Because it's all
not even the ones today
they brought these Africans. How they automatically can speak all the Indian languages?
That's right.
No way.
No.
You're cooking.
You don't lose all of your dialect. You don't lose all of your dialect wherever you come from. I mean, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger and how long he's been in America. He never lost his dialect. Never.
That's just like when Jamaicans come from over here to America with their green cards. They still got their accents.
Yeah.
And this shit is funny. And I'm telling you, I went to high school with girls from Jamaica that were born here. And they still have their accent. And they in their 50s like me. So this is why I said we have to study. We have to think logically. This kills everything about these agents, Jabari, Sinetta, and them Pan-African brothers. This kills everything they're trying. We don't need to look but so far in our history. It
That
makes
census is a
no
good place to
sense.
look.
That's the only place. That's why I said you don't need to go back all the way to the 1600s. It's telling you right there, and in the newspaper, on the census sheet, that they needed Negroes to go around and because we didn't speak nothing but Indian languages.
And how would they do that if they couldn't read or write? Why would they ask them?
Facts. And then I'm sitting here laughing at these articles. I just laugh. As the Negroes and the Indians work side by side, this shit is funny. On the farm and in the shops, their natural traits are conspicuously illustrated. The Indian is the quicker, the more agile, on a spurt. But his black brother has vastly more staying power. The Indian has the more able and nimble legs. But the Negro, now they done switched it up to the goddamn Negro. But the Negro is better developed in the chest and arms, all because of various obvious reasons. General Armstrong, now this is a general from the Army, says his best students are those who work all day and have only 2 hours for study. That right there tells you. Oh, so the Indian got a brother, a black brother. and wait a minute, then they switched it to the Negro.
Yeah.
That's
funny.
It makes no sense.
Wow.
It don't make no sense. And then how in the hell is you gonna be Indian, right? And then when birth certificates, you gonna be Indian first, right? And then birth certificates come out. Wait, all right. First Indian, then it changed to colored, right? All the niggas, all you goddamn 19 Walter Black, all you Indians is colored now, all right? So now our ancestors, now it's changed to color on their birth certificates, and then it jumps down to Negro, okay? And the Negroes is the one who speak all the Indian languages, right? And then they change the black. I'm like, look, I'm what my ancestors were. Why you making? Why am I African now?
My mother was born in 1934. Her birth certificate had colored on it.
Right. My grandmother was born in 1931, and hers had color on it.
Yes,
1931, it had color. And then my mother came, and then they changed it to Negro.
No, that wasn't their doing, sir. Back, let me say
color wasn't their doing.
No.
You saying our people call themselves colored?
Hold on, give me 1 second. Give me 30 seconds.
No, we was described as. Go ahead.
Basically, when my mother had her child, it was home birth. They had the lady, I forget their names. They came in and they filled out the paperwork. And basically, you know, a lot of times they put in what they wanted to put in. Them home,
right, but that was under the U.S. system, though, right? I mean, it wasn't your Indian native because we didn't have birth certificate. We kept our birth records
In the Bible.
in the Bible or home. You know, cause that color, we wasn't calling ourselves color.
Those of us who
We was
converted or
labeled with
died.
that. Yeah. I mean, they had it on my birth certificate.
That's the point.
They had mulatto on my grandmother's, my great great grandmother's.
Yeah, we had all these names.
Yeah, we talking like I said, we talking about the 1930s, the 30s.
Yeah.
My mom,
No,
like I
I'm
said,
talking
34.
18.
Yeah, my mother 34.
So back then they had color. I didn't even know that they was giving out color back then.
Yeah,
I thought color came around in the 40s.
No, sir, 34.
Well, we remember all the senators back in the late 1800s, or was it the late 1700s? They were colored. They called them colored back then.
Yep.
All the senators down south and
South
stuff.
Carolina. Yep.
Yeah, all of them. I pulled that up. This.
And how could they be run for office and be
all of them? They was colored. They wasn't even called Negroes. All of them.
Yeah, that's what my mother got on her birth certificate.
And yo, this is in Reconstruction period, 1860s. They made all the goddamn Indians take off their feathers and put on some damn suits like mainstream white society. This is where you get that convert or die. They wanted. They was talking to us Indians.
Yeah.
We convert or die. So you see, they converted. They got their suits on like mainstream white society. Okay. All them niggas, Negroes, colors, speaking, none but Indian languages.
Speaking Indians.
None but Indian languages. That's all we spoke was nothing but Indian languages.
Yes, ma'am.
How come they didn't say, oh, they speak their African language too? Why didn't they say that? They didn't mention shit about
Africans is out the door.
Yeah, if they didn't speak,
Africans is out the door.
Negroes are frequently met.
That's it.
Who speak nothing but Indian languages. Okay, so if you only speak Indian languages, then obviously you're not African, dude. Because why you not speaking? What are some of them Indian languages? Swahili and all that other stuff.
Oh, they gave them Swahili. Yeah, they make that up for the Indians here.
Wasn't no Negroes over here speaking Swahili. What would they have? An African language or something? Nope. They said Indians, Negroes are met who speak nothing but Indian languages. I'm not playing.
New foreigners, by the way they look. You can look at them and tell that they wasn't American. Whether you was Chinese or part Chinese or from Cuba, you can tell that different look from Cuba. You can tell a Mexican. You can tell a Jamaican or African. We knew the difference of the people. They tried to confuse us and pretty much have confused a lot of us. And even though we're coming out of it, but their history, their documents, man, they screwed up a whole bunch of stuff.
I'm gonna pull up that document. Y'all remember the document I read where the Indians was when they told them, to convert or die, and the Indian lady was the Indian lady Emma. Oh, Emma. Everybody got an aunt named Emma. She told them she ain't giving up her gods for Christ as long as it don't get interfere. Did y'all remember me reading that? Oh, probably not. Let me go and get it because this is some funny shit. All right, let me go
read
get
it for us.
It was in the newspaper. That shit was funny. I'm pulling it up now. I think this is it right here. The old Indian meeting house. Let's see. Old Indian church.
Oh, yes, I do remember now.
Remember this segment? Let me take it from the beginning. All right, I gotta escape. Let me get out of here. All right, let me do a share screen, y'all. Oh my goodness. Hang on. Share screen. Windows. All right. Here we go. All right, so let me take it from the beginning. I'm not gonna read this, but I'm gonna go to where they had the old and oh
Yes, I
the
remember
old
that.
Indian
Oh,
meeting house.
Yes.
nice.
Uh Also known as the old Indian church. Okay. These are prints of the American Indian in 1670, 70. That's how they look. But here's the old Indian house
Yes.
in the church. Where did she say Emma? Here it is.
Yeah.
The problem of the Native American
I
church
remember.
membership.
Yeah.
They was taking the minutes of the Anadarko Presbyterian Church, founded in Indian Territory in 1889, referred to the problem of Native American church membership on the very first page. Reverend Silas Fate, along with an elder, examined an Indian named Emma. Though she accepted
Indian named
Christ,
Emma.
yep, though she accepted Christ, the leaders rejected Emma's application as she maintained that Christ could not interfere with her own gods. And then he said in his follow-up notes, Reverend Fate were worried that great harm will come to the mission if care is not exercised in the matter of receiving Indians into the church, because they wasn't trying. They them Indians, they was not buying that mess. Our ancestors, they was like, a lot of them were like, they would not. They was like, look, Christ, he can't get in the way of my God. And that's how our family was. A lot of our family was not trying to give
I
up
was
the
like
way that
that.
they
I was like
naturally.
that.
I'm still like that.
Stand in your ground.
Yeah. I mean, I went to church and stuff, but I could never get with it.
Me too.
Shouting, I never shouted. I never had no Holy Ghost. I just
Did it seem
breathed to this
creepy?
day.
Yep.
Yeah. Now,
It seemed like
the
creepy, like you
shouting,
was at some.
the shouting, that's really Indian dancing. I'm not even gonna lie. But we
Uh-huh.
did that to the ancestors. We shouting that, we brought some of our practice into these churches.
I think it depended
That's
on
why
the
you have
tribes.
such a huge separation with blacks and whites in churches back then. Because we were still gonna do what we was gonna do. They had to compromise with the Indians because they wasn't having.
Pulled us into
But
those churches.
Emma, she was like, that sounds just like a Negro Indian.
A
Well,
sister.
long as Christ don't get in the way of my own God, she had, and she wasn't having it. So again, to everyone that's listening in, you need to understand this, you Pam Boo Boos. But see, I'm not worried because just like we came around, the younger Pam Boo Boos is gonna come around too. They gonna
Oh,
give in.
definitely.
They're gonna learn
Definitely.
about these little black British boys, the Jabaris and the Garfields. That them dudes, they gonna cancel Christmas with them. Okay, because when you read, Negroes are frequently met who speak nothing. Do you know what nothing means? Nothing but Indian
Zilch.
languages. All right, we didn't speak no other language but Indian languages.
Maybe you should blow that up and send it over there.
I'm not dealing with them niggas over there because I ain't worried about them.
Man,
They
they
don't
are
know
just
content
thrown to the
creation.
side.
But when you got primary source, newspapers are primary sources.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because it was recorded during the time.
during the
At the
time,
very
yeah.
time.
That's why I tell you, the more they update shit, the more they put their foot in their mouth. And that's a
And see,
fact.
these Caucasian was smart. A lot of people always save newspapers. They always
Yeah.
saved them. They just put them in their basement, and they kept them.
Yep.
And they bought them from every town that they went into. They if don't buy nothing else, they bought a newspaper.
Hey,
And
I'm gonna say this real quick, Sister Betsy, because
go ahead, honey.
we know they have been basically, infiltrated also. That's a part of the television. The television and the media has always been infiltrated and controlled by them. The publisher determines what is put in the newspaper.
Mhm.
And that
Right.
has been from
The
and that has
government
been from
deter the government
yes
determines.
ma'am. Yes ma'am. They control the
They
publisher. So
they
I'm just saying
control
the
what goes.
newspaper has always it's been basically, tampered with when they created the television, the radio. They control all of that.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. They
Yeah, it's a
controlled the
fact.
papers back then.
That's a fact, big dog.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all
All right.
smash that like button because we getting into some hot shit today.
That's all I'm
So
saying,
Yeah.
Sister Bessie. But I
Hmm.
got you.
you fact that's facts, big dog. We know this today. And I'm glad you brought that up because people need to be checked at the damn door. You can't run from shit like this. This newspaper, you can't run from it. This is not a joke. This is very serious.
And
Eh,
a lot of literature, the United States had a census bureau that you had to get permission to publish a book, and they censored your book. They censored a lot of writing. I forgot where that article I got it, but I don't have time to dig and go and find it where I can read it to you. But it was they censored all of the publications of books and writers. You know, before they put the finished product or the finished work out. Somebody reread it and censored it before they published it.
I think
So,
a lot of this is also the arrogance that at that time that they wrote that, they weren't thinking that somehow, somebody was going to actually go back and analyze it. So there are
right.
certain things that are primary source, and then there's other things that they have literally gone back and changed. So you
Yep.
got, but what that says, it speaks for itself. There's no, there's only one way to interpret that, opposed to,
And
right.
so
Right. The
that
way they
paper
want
right
to,
there, yeah, is true.
the way they want you to think, they have always done it for hundreds of years. They write
mhm,
down, they teach you, they tell you what they want you to think.
Well, I don't
They have
believe nothing
always
now.
do
I
it.
can tell you that.
facts.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I'm with you on that.
there was old
Don't
Emerson
tell
Church.
you can't tell
If
me
you
nothing. Don't come telling me
right,
nothing, cause
facts.
you've
Don't
Exactly.
let
been
nobody.
lied to me for hundreds of years. I'm through with it.
And this
Exactly.
is
That's
that.
my
And
stance.
this is that
Y'all
church
know
that
my
they're talking
stance
about
over
right here,
here.
y'all. The Indian meeting house. It's the same church. The Anglican Presbyterian Church in 1897. This is the same church. And who you see out there in the little Indian meeting place.
I don't see no frail people.
I mean, nobody but niggas going to
Yes,
church. There it is. You can't make this up. You can't. And it's very sad. Just like with Fred, look what they did with Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was of mixed race, which likely included American Indian and African on his mother's side, as well as European. You know what? I'm done.
done.
In contrast, his father was almost certainly white. I'm done. You
Jokes.
can't. And, you know, to white people's credit, no disrespect or anything uh, for people who are white that claim to be Indians. No, okay. But they were the jealous eye, and it was questioned, are you Indian? And under the laws of the five tribe, a person white in color and features is frequently an Indian. By but how are they Indian? By remote degree of blood. Okay. That one drop rule. By remote degree of blood. There are many whites claiming to be Indians whose claims have not as yet been acted on by the nations. But, however, Negroes are frequently met who speak nothing but Indian languages and are Indians by tribal law and custom.
You
And when
know,
you look up that,
I I
um,
don't I don't understand why that
hang
these
on,
people. Oh, I'm sorry.
um, and custom. And there are others who call themselves Indians. There's other people who was calling themselves Indians who have not yet been so acknowledged by the tribes. The difficulties surrounding the taking of the census were augmented by the fact that in enrolling the Indians, it frequently occurred that it was necessary to equip two and sometimes three interpreters to accompany the enumerators to converse with the Indians in the same locality. They needed the Indians, they needed the niggers to accompany them in the same locality because they was walking around. They ain't understand shit what the Indians was saying. So you had
Exactly.
to bring a nigga with you because they spoke nothing but Indian languages. Because so I mean, the citizens watched. They was jealous.
They were
It was terrible. They
um
was jealous. They watched with a jealous eye in the United States. Why they didn't? Why they didn't get the citizens to go around with them to interpret? To interpret in the same locality. Why they got the nigga instead of the citizens? Because they couldn't understand them either.
I think one of the reasons why the Caucasian was jealous is because they came from Europe, you know, thinking, that somehow they was going to come to a better place. The ones that did come, uh, that just came, and then they saw all these black people with land and everything, and they were working like dogs, and they had nothing. So that would make people jealous, I think, just for the fact that they're seeing so many people of color that have things and they have nothing. And even the black Europeans, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So,
I don't know nothing about no black Europeans.
all right, we'll leave that alone.
Yeah, you might as well, because uh, that's cap. Because they didn't mention anything about black Europeans in that time. They would have stated it. They would have
Well,
stated that there were black Europeans around there, and maybe they are the ones who came here on the Mayflower. Maybe them the black Europeans they talk about.
well,
But
they
I'm
use the status, the white status. So
mm,
that's also another problem because people see these people as all being white and they're not. So they use the status of being white. And I could tell you, my
yeah.
grandfather on his birth certificate has he's white and he's as black as he's purple. Actually, he was purple.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not. This segment is about the Negroes and the Indians. Black Europeans, I have nothing to do with it.
I
Thank
know.
God. There's no black Europeans listed on my census sheet at all. And I thank goodness for that. I don't know anything about them. All I know is perhaps those that came down on the Mayflower. I don't know if they was white or if they was black Europeans. So whatever they was, I don't even care because I didn't come on the Mayflower. I was already here.
Me
That's the way
too.
I look at that. So, and I mean, they was making the Indians. This is during Indian Removal Act. These articles right here. These articles are very real. They were making this is Indian Removal Act. Negroes leave town of Bonanza. Warning followed by shooting in the
Unbelievable.
houses of blacks. They made us leave. Hundreds of shots fired. No one wounded,
They
but
just took
Negroes
over.
were terrorized and decided to leave. And this is state news. And then
Uh,
there's another one, firing. This is three different articles. Firing has been almost um ancestry on the streets of the town for 3 days. Negroes quietly leaving. They
Where is this at?
began. It's in the South, in
Okay.
Bonanza.
Okay.
It's in Bonanza.
All right.
All right.
Hey, Sister Becky, we still have sundown towns today.
Yeah. Rope route. Strung up by 8 men.
Mm.
And a
Peter
lot of that stuff was
Berryman.
going on in the 40s and the 50s.
No, this
Excuse
is
me, so,
Indian.
Chief, go ahead.
This is during Indian Removal Act of our lands. Rope route. Peter Berryman, colored, lynched at men's yesterday morning. Like people that didn't want, this is what they was doing to our ancestors when they wouldn't leave their lands. Strung up by 8 men. Brutal, jailer overpowered, Kenya taken from him, and Negro hung to a convenient tree. Brutally kicked a girl, arrested, and was to have been tried yesterday. Nothing known as to identity of Lindbergh. Then there's another one. All right. This is during the time. This is when they was removing us. Because remember, the Indian Removal Act took a lot of years. Let's go back. Let me see. Let me go get my little famous sheet. Oh, do.
Well, South Carolina, they're seeing that now with so many people from different places that are in Columbia.
Okay, so if you look here, 1830 to 1860, that's 30 years that it took. It took 30 years for them to remove a lot of our people that were not trying to move. And I read to you where I read to you where the Indians said that they will fight to death before they will remove themselves from their lands. I just read that to you a little earlier, that they will fight to the death. And this is what it was when Indians wouldn't convert or die. The death was the hanging in the trees of Negroes. That's what you were seeing. So those pictures that Sinetta was showing, trying to say they was Africans, oh hell no, nigga. You won't go there because I got the proof of this happening. And this is what happened. I'm reading you the articles of the Negroes being hung if they didn't leave their home. So Tinetta, you could take those pictures and get the stepping. I mean, that's a disservice that nigga did on his channel, showing them burnings and hangings and stuff.
Yep.
That was our ancestors being forced. So I went and got the news articles to match what was being done to our people, that the Indians, the Negroes by law and custom was being removed from their land. And that was the punishment if they didn't convert or die or move off their land when they were supposed to. Those are the things that were happening. And don't just blame this on the white man, because our people were in power as legislators when this shit was going down. They was reconstructioning everything.
And that's probably why the grandparents didn't really talk about it, because they were probably feeling embarrassed too that their land was taken.
It's just traumatizing to know that this was happening, that they didn't want to tell this to their family. These kind of things happen.
Yeah.
The second set of news articles. Negroes warned to leave Cotter. Given 24 hours to leave. 24 hours to get out their house that they've been in for thousands of years. Thousands and thousands. And here goes Polk County, a news article. Polk County's only Negro dies in flames. Tony Hayes, ex-slave, fell. How the hell he gonna fall in the fireplace at his house near Hatfield Cottage? Was destroyed. Tone Hayes, 81, Polk County's only Negro resident, was burned to death Monday afternoon about 5 o'clock at his home located about 1.5 miles east of Hatfield on 2 Mile Creek. So obviously he was a Creek. He had to be a Creek Indian. When the cottage, which he had occupied for many years, was destroyed by fire. You know what happened to him. He wasn't leaving. That man was 81 years. He was not leaving. And this is the Sundown Flyers. This is in Arkansas. Selling their homes.
You know, when you just think about the fact that, like, I try to put myself in that kind of predicament. Like, that is terrible. Like,
Lisa. And then I want to go to here. I'm trying to get through my slides.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Then when you read things like this, we done all been through there. How the hell? So now you got Negroes going around interpreting, okay, because they don't speak nothing but Indian language. But now we moving into the North. The office of Black Governor originated in Massachusetts and then appeared in Connecticut and Rhode Island. In Connecticut, the practice started in the 1750s when Captain Thomas Seymour Slade was elected Connecticut's first Black governor in 1755. Excuse me, is he not supposed to be getting his back whooped and be a slave and an African?
Yeah. Exactly.
The election was followed by a large parade and festive celebration. A Black governor, and back then, they didn't call him no Black. He was a damn Indian. A Black governor could be called on to perform important functions within his community. In many towns, the governor meted out punishments and upheld law and order among African inhabitants. Okay, get your fucking laugh on. Here's the African inhabitants, y'all. Because the Negroes can understand the languages in the community, because they don't speak. The Negroes speak nothing but the shit don't make no sense. The Negroes don't speak nothing but Indian language. So we're gonna put them over to Africans. So don't Africans speak African language?
That's right.
You know damn well there wasn't no, they couldn't control the Indians. So now you saying they Africans now? Get out of here. In 1755. In 1755,
we can only take so much before we fight
this
back.
Shit is a joke. In 1755, we was called Negroes and colors, not no damn Africans.
And the thing is that they use the Black and then they use the African. It's like ridiculous.
Now, this badass Black governor, he also acted as a mediator between the Black and white communities. Now, wait a minute. Hold on there. Hold on. Now, this dumb, feeble-minded dude, he's a mediator now between the Black and white people. You know damn well he was an Indian and he probably was a damn chief. He also acted as a mediator between Black and white communities. Black governors also often appointed a lieutenant governor and deputies to help carry out these tasks. Wait a minute. How is this little slave gonna appoint a governor? He got power now? This African got power? Colonial John Chesters, a slave, London, was elected Black governor of Connecticut in 1760. Now listen to this funny shit, y'all. His wife, Betty, was thought to be an Indian. Y'all get your fucking laugh on.
Thought to be.
He was Indian and he married his Indian wife. That was a Negro with no goddamn. He died in 1787. Sometime during his adult life, London was made free. Okay, so he's a governor, he was still a slave, and he was made free. Now, let me tell you what that means. He moved to West Simsbury, which is now West Simsbury. Your ass ain't going up there because ain't nothing up there but Jews and uh very wealthy people. Where he was still called governor. He died at about age 80 and a pauper of the town of New Hartford, which is very wealthy areas of Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, so here's the funny shit. Here's the funny shit. All right. These feeble-minded niggas, he was a slave, and he's my slave, but he's also the governor. Understand, a lot of governors today, they have jobs other than their governors and senators. They have other jobs outside of their part-time job. Now, a governor's job is full-time. But senators and reps, those are part-time jobs. And they have jobs. Some of them own law firms. Some of them own different companies, different corporations that they have. They have a business. So, and some of them work for people. They're probably some CEO in some company, for some company. So they're a slave. So now, back then, you could say, yeah, my slave, he was elected governor. Yeah, he works for him, but that don't mean that he live on his land and he's slaving and all this stuff. And then he step out to be governor and then come back. He had a job. He had a job. It's like he had a job outside there. Yeah, my slave. He worked for me, but he's still governor. They made money back then. It's a job he had. Slave is the same
Get
thing
paid,
as
you're not a
employment.
slave, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing as employment.
Yeah.
And it depends. Now you have slavery where you're in prison, where you have no rights and no powers. Because when you go to jail, you don't have any rights. Well, a lot of your rights are taken away. You can't do certain things. And then you have slave where you probably did something bad and they put you in jail and you go and slave for somebody else and work on their land. You work it out. And then you have voluntary servitude, which for the most part, what a lot of it was voluntary servitude. Because I'm telling you, back in them days, let me tell you something, honey. The same thing back then and back now. These niggas ain't coming to
Pookie and Ray Ray.
slave on your goddamn land.
Nope.
Now, I
Not like
watched
that.
Django. No, hell no. Now, if they come and work for you, they're going to volunteer to do some work to make some money. And then I watched Django yesterday for the umpteenth time. And the way he was seeing his wife getting whooped and stuff, that shit ain't going down with these niggas on the land. So a lot of that shit is a lie.
Yeah. Yeah,
Those,
I'm not the one that believed that slaves were treated bad. It was just
yeah,
called slavery. They had a contract to fulfill. They worked
yeah.
their term and they were set free. I don't think,
They were
from what I
assets.
found out, they wasn't getting beat, and just raped
Well,
like they
I
told us. I don't believe that now.
I'd like to explain that in a minute. You see the two white people up on the top. Well, that's probably why she got her hands like that. Like, I don't know what the hell they talking about. But picture them two in their house on their 160 acres and them telling them, all right, get your little darkies, get out there and pick that cotton and shuck that corn. You think they're going to listen to them two
Yeah.
old people or what's going to happen to them?
They're going.
Yeah,
They're
some
going
Big
to work.
Daddy.
You coming to them with a whip. And okay, mind you, ain't no damn cell phones for their ass to call the police or walkie-talkies.
They're going
They
to have to
old
get
ass to
somebody
be
on
at
a
the
horse.
house. That's why I said, when you hear of these beatings on the lands, that's why we have laws now. Because back then, when we lived on our farmlands, we whooped our kids. That was daddy out there whooping their ass like they do now.
Right.
Like when I was little, my mother would whoop me with a belt
Mm-hmm.
and stuff,
Switch.
extension cord,
Yup.
that's considered abusive now. That's why they have laws, because that shit was happening to white kids too. Their parents would whoop their ass when they would needed discipline. That was what they taught you in church. They even did it in church. Done
Yep.
whoopings.
Yeah,
They
I
were
sure
they
did.
were terrible, uh, terribly and brutal.
The
Done,
Catholics too. They.
yes, done by our own families. So this is why I say, this is why I say, please stop with that goddamn Kuta Kente story with the whipping, because that shit
Yeah.
ain't happening. Ain't no mama and daddy gonna stand there and let some guy whoop their kid's ass. They gonna fight, because we do it now. You hit one person, you got to beat the whole
Oh
goddamn
yeah,
family up.
that's true. That's true. Mama come and can whoop your ass in a minute.
Everybody
Touch
in the
my baby.
everybody in the family coming to jump your ass.
That's
They do
strong.
that now. They did that back in the 70s. You hit one, you got to hit everybody else in the family. So these beatings on these farmlands, um, you know, that happened with black families and white families. White families was disciplining their kids too and whooping their asses. In later years, they began creating um, agencies and government and things of that nature. They saw and deemed us, many of our ancestors, as feeble minded, because no one taught them to establish a corporation. The only one who knew how to do it was the goddamn pastor. He was the only one that knew how to
Right.
establish a corporation. He created the church. He ain't teach nobody else. And
That was by
pub-
design.
good. And public school, we know that. In public school, they didn't teach you
Nope.
how to start your own business
Nope.
and do all this stuff. So they deemed us a lot feeble minded. And this is where all these creations of these state agencies came about, literally. And they began when you became a citizen, then these state policies started applying to you. This is a lot of shit that our people were not accustomed to. And prior to the creation of all these state agencies, before we even became citizens, we didn't become citizens until like really the 1960s, when things started applying to us. But back then, when you would see a lot of these beatings and stuff, when we became citizens and they started applying some of their laws, they came and saw that you couldn't really properly take care of your kid. They come and took your kid from your house, the state. They did. You seen this shit and controlled how your household would be. You saw that in the movie. What is it? James Earl Jones and what's her name? That movie. What is it called? One name movie. When the state came to their house and no man couldn't be in there. What was her name? Claudia. Remember the movie
Yeah,
Claudia
I do, but I don't. I can't
with James
recall.
Earl Jones and I think it was Diana Carroll. Claudia. Let
Yeah,
me pull it up. I think everybody should remember the movie Claudia.
but I think by them doing that, it only gives them more control. Uh, and so they didn't do it
Yeah,
so much because they were trying to help. They were doing it more or less for control of their
Right.
well, they
agenda.
were reporting
Of their
children
agenda.
were running
Exactly.
away. Children were running away from home back then, getting away from like we do now. We do the same thing we do back then. It's just a different time. Like me, I couldn't wait until I graduated from high school to get the hell out of my house, my mom's house. I left home when I was 17, going on 18, and I never looked back. And that same shit happened in the South. Oh, I can't wait to get off this here land. But when they did that and they tried to attempt to do it, they got reported as bringing a runaway slave. They was running their ass from home and leaving. Some of them were leaving from slave masters. Some of them from leaving from their own homes, getting the hell away. because they wasn't agreeing with mama. We don't agree with mom and dad to this date. So we had a lot to do with us giving them power over us in that manner. Like that girl, what's her name? Fannie Mae Lou, that Dane show. She ran to Congress saying, sir, and it was her father she was talking about. Her master. Because he didn't want to vote. Y'all seen that? Fannie Mae Lou, that video Dane show. And she ran to Congress telling them about, what was going on and what she wanted to do. Dane played that video. You had to have seen it. They did not want to be a part of the United States. Her family was not a lot of our families was not part of the corporation. Even in the 1930s and the 40s, they still wasn't.
But did they know about the corporation, or they just didn't want to?
They didn't want to be a part of it. They was
They don't want
Indians
to be a
living
part of
freely
it.
on their own land. Us Negro Indians, they didn't want to be a part of it.
You
This
had
is
two
why,
cultures. They wanted
yeah,
one culture to die,
yeah.
and our people
What year was this?
was refusing to change culture.
In the 1920s, the 30s, the 40s. Let me look
Yeah,
up Fannie Mae Lou. But this is the movie Claudia. Let me see. If you watch it, how welfare right here.
Economically, back in the 20s and 30s, colored folk,
This
they had families. Uh, they were thriving back then.
this was in the 19 this movie came out in the 1970s. And if you look at, you know,
we were
the
sewers. We
picture,
had sold our own clothes. We had shops, tailors. I know a
this
lot
came
of
out
tailors grew up where I grew up at, and
this came out
they had farmers.
Yeah, my
You know,
grandfather
we
was a
sold
doctor.
our own food.
yeah, we did a lot. We had a
Hmm.
lot.
Did you know what
And
college he went to? You know,
The college my
where he
grandfather
learned that
went to.
trade, the doctor at. Do you know? Yes.
I do have that information. I do. I can't recall it right offhand. And my grandmother went to Johnson and Wales. She was the first black woman to go to Johnson and Wales.
then you
And
got
they gave her a
Okay.
party when she was 90.
now it's so we have so much supporting documentation that it's just endless of the information that we have on our history, man. And let me see
Let
what
me
is
go find that.
the where is it? I wanted to pull it up. The Negroes, that's just so much. That alone telling me, showing me that we didn't speak nothing but Indian languages, being Negroes. That says a whole lot. Then you have this shit. The free white persons. What were they free from? Free white persons. Free white persons referred to in Naturalization Act as amended by Act July 14th, 1870. 1870 has meaning naturally given. It when first used in Title One, Statute 103C, meaning all persons belonging to the European races, then commonly counted as white, and their descendants, including such descendants in other countries to which they have emigrated. It includes all European Jews, more or less intermixed with people of Celtic, Scandinavian, Teutonic, Iberian, Latin, Greek, Slavic descent, and Slavic descent. It includes Magyars, Lapps, and Finns, and Basques and Albanians. It includes the mixed Latin, Celtic Iberian, and Moorish inhabitants of Spain and Portugal. Don't play with me. The mixed Greek, Latin, Phoenician, and North African inhabitants of Sicily, and the mixed Slav and Tartar inhabitants of South Russia. It does not mean Caucasian race, Aryan race, or Indo European races, nor the mixed Indo European, Dravidian, Semitic, and Mongolian peoples who inhabited Persia. Assyrian, Asiatic birth and descent will not be entitled to become a naturalized citizen of the United States as being a free white person. Ex parte, Shahid. These are cases. Free woman of color term up to the time of the Civil War applied to all persons not of the white race, including Indians. Sunseer versus Cassidy. Freedman and Roman law, one who has set free from a state of bondage and emancipated slave. The word is used in the same sense in the United States, respecting Negroes who were formerly slaves. And the Negroes, as you see, were the Indians. We were enslaved, the Indians that were enslaved here. This is why I stand on who the hell I am. I stand on who I am.
That's right.
And you should too.
I know I do.
Don't let no Slav or nothing ever come in your life and tell you who you are. You do not let foreigners that couldn't even get citizenship here come and tell you who you are on your own damn land, especially if they came here. Slavs came here. So you don't even need to be communicating with them about your history. Your history speaks for itself. It's very clear. We have the sources. We spoke nothing but Indian languages. If you had Negro on your birth certificate, your ancestors spoke nothing but Indian language. I just want to see what this fool want to talk about. Hit the link. Y'all know he ain't gonna be up here that long. Hit the link. You want to talk about this? What you want to talk about? Let's let the Slav up. See what he want to talk about. Because it's very interesting to me how foreigners that are not from here come
have so much to say
on my panel or on our panels, want to jump on our panel.
And Sister Betty, I'm gonna let you know ahead of time. He don't want nothing. He's just a clown. He admitted.
Yeah.
He like doing funny stuff. He's a clown.
And I'm like, I don't understand their great interest in our history and these Dumbo Jabari Africana studies. Okay. All right. Maybe you need to go and apologize. The Dutch man apologized to you because they brought people over here. The Dutch guy, he said he brought people over in the Caribbean islands. So perhaps maybe Jabari is African, of African descent.
African studies, you should go over Africa and study your people. Why you in America?
Apologize.
Go to Africa and study your people.
And don't try to put it on us. Leave us alone.
I'm on the damn mainland.
Exactly.
So
Go
he's
find your
his
people.
his lineage is in Barbados, okay, from where he's from, wherever the hell he's from. So the Dutch did apologize to Jabari. So perhaps maybe the Dutch brought him over there in the Sugarcane Islands.
Like I always say, sister,
Matter of fact, I think I need to pull that up.
they
Go
hit the
ahead.
islands. Yeah, they hit the islands well before they hit our landmass. They was
Well, the
already
last I
been doing
checked,
their thing in the islands.
they
They've been
only
under
brought 20
British
niggers.
rule forever.
And last I checked, and what Dane showed us, they only brought 20 odd Negroes. And they had Spanish names. 20 odd niggas here in Virginia.
Oh, thanks for the laugh.
I'm just not understanding. Like they're telling you that the Negroes spoke nothing but Indian languages. That says a whole lot. How come they didn't say the white people speak Indian languages?
Because they didn't.
And why did they need the Negroes to accompany them? They said two or sometimes three.
Because they knew everything. Because they were the Indians.
And also, those of us that they didn't ship out of here to Barbados that did stay, you see where I read they stayed, they gave in. They ceded, so they say. But then the ones that were not compliant, as you can see, they're like, all right, you got 24 hours to get out. That's the kind of shit that was going on and that hanging and stuff. And the great migration from the South to the North. They had a huge migration in the 70s, in the 60s and 70s from the South.
Really?
Oh God, yeah. From the South to the North, where I am in the northern states and the colonial states, they had a huge migration from the South in the 70s. And I remember that as a little girl too, of a lot of folks coming in huge migrations because they're back in the 70s and in the northern states, there was a lot of industrialization. There were a lot of factories. So there were a lot of jobs. So a lot of people from the South worked in factories for years. I remember that as a little girl. There were so many factories here in Connecticut. When you
Rhode
start
Island too.
a lot of factories and all those factories, I remember when they started leaving out of here. They started leaving out of here in like the 80s when certain governors came in office, all the way up until like 2008. Said, "This is it. I'm sick of these tax dollars," and
Hey,
they got
sister
out
Bethany,
and went back south. Huh?
Philadelphia had a lot of factories also.
Yeah, and a lot of the
Yes, ma'am.
colonial
I'm just
states.
agreeing with you. Yeah, we had a lot of factories growing up in
Hmm.
Philadelphia, and
And
now
Milltown.
they were abandoned big buildings for a minute, but now they basically buying them or taking them back and making them condominiums and suites in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's what they're doing here too. A lot. They're getting all the asbestos out of them. These old factories, and they're
Yes,
changing them into
ma'am.
like
Yep.
they're changing them into like these lofts,
Yes. Yeah.
and they're
That's
very
the word,
beautiful.
lofts. Yes, ma'am.
They're very beautiful. They're in downtown. A lot of these what is it 16 and 20-story buildings that are now were desolate. They changed them into these beautiful loft apartments, and a lot of people from the suburban areas got the hell out of their homes in the suburbs and moved downtown Hartford. Yep. So you see a lot of people who owned homes in the suburban areas in here in Connecticut. They left their homes. They gave them up and said, "Fuck it." They can pay one price, heat, hot water, is included, and they're already accustomed to paying like 2,000 and $2,000 mortgages, because a lot of them were paying like $3,000 and $4,000 mortgages on their homes in the suburbs, and they're looking at their budgets and they're saying, I can move downtown Hartford, beautiful, and chop off half of my mortgage. And that's what they did. They said, oh, I'm out. They sold their homes and they lived downtown now in these beautiful loft places, loft homes. So yeah. But getting way off a subject, I didn't want to stay on too long. I want people to be able to watch the rewatch, and just giving them some common thoughts and strong points to think about when it comes to their ancestry. And you see these pen boo boos begging you, saying, how come you didn't take your DNA? No. And I really liked how Rico stood his ground and said, I don't need to take it because I know they're going to tell me I'm from Africa.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he stood on it. What the hell am I going to take it for? And, I'm glad he stood by that with them fucking Pan-Africans. When somebody make you do it, a lot of these dudes that are Pan-Boo-Boos, they're from the islands. Not no real niggas going to tell you that. Make you do that. They want you to go take it. No. You can look at them niggas now with that primary source that I have, and I still have that newspaper. I printed the whole damn thing out. And you tell them, because my family's Negro, labeled Negro, classified as Negro. And they didn't speak nothing but Indian languages. And you hold that over their head. They can't fuck with that. You can't. The niggas spoke nothing but Indian languages. That article mentioned nothing about Africans. And you could tell them that.
You have some excuse for it.
Huh? Oh, their excuse means nothing, because their excuse just comes out their mouth. And all Jabari's dumbass have is his colleagues' books that he run to. Nigga, your colleagues' books do not override primary source information. Those books don't hold no weight in court. None. I could write a damn book and say I'm an alumni of UConn, which I am, but that don't mean what I write and research is going to hold. Look, Your Honor, that book is not going to be admitted in court. That damn fool.
Because that's your opinion.
Indoctrinated dummy would believe some dumb shit like that. And he's dumb. And see, the audience that they have control of over our people, a lot of our people are not college educated and don't understand that research is personal. Somebody's personal research doesn't hold weight in court. Not nobody's book that they wrote. And they kill me because they be showing the book like this and shit. That don't mean shit to me. Nigga, I'm gonna show you some primary. So here's the newspaper. Niggas only spoke Indian languages, nothing but Indian languages. They ain't say nothing about African languages. That's what I tell them. That debunks everything they got. Negroes.
They won't let you on, Sister Bethy.
I don't want to go on. They'll let me on, but I don't want to go on there. I'm not going back to that dude's channel for what? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. A lot of his audience are young. A lot of them are very young and don't understand the importance of primary source information. They don't understand it. And that's our people. But we have to get out there and teach them. They're going to come around. Our people are going to come around. So we don't need to worry about people like Jabari and Garfield and all them dudes. And Umar Johnson, he's even gonna come around. He ain't gonna have no choice. Because in his ass, he got Negro on his census sheets and death and birth certificates. And he gonna have to look and say, damn, my family spoke nothing but Indian languages. That's gonna hit him in the head.
Didn't he say he was related to Frederick Douglass or something?
I don't know. He's a
He
nice
did.
guy. He's very intelligent. I don't know what his goal is, but he knows about, he has a PhD and he knows about our history. He knows about research. He knows primary sources. Umar Johnson is not no dumb man. That is a very intelligent man. I don't
Yes.
know what his game ball is, but he has a PhD. And in order to have a PhD, you have got to know research. You can't get out of a
Hey,
graduate
hey,
or a
Sister
PhD
Betty,
without research. He's not dumb. Huh?
Sister Betty, that's the problem. The educated niggas believe everything the system tells them.
No, Umar know better. He knows. He
That's the
knows.
problem. Well,
He knows.
their education, their standards, the system ain't
Umar's
getting
ass is
better
from
for us.
South.
It's getting
His
worse
ass
for
is
us.
from South Carolina. He from South Carolina, and his ass know
A lot of our
that his
people, Sister
ancestors
Betty,
spoke nothing but
gonna
Indian
die
language.
believing in this system. It's been happening for too long. They're gonna die believing in this system.
Yeah, I know. Umar. He's not ignorant to the truth. I think he knows, and he knows what primary sources. He knows primary sources, and sometimes we get in over our heads and don't open our eyes up to more information, and it can happen to anybody. And in my heart, I know Umar knows the truth now. It could just be, because we all were where Umar was, prior to coming to YouTube. We all was where he was, mind wise. Put the degrees and all that aside. We all were thinking African stuff, but I knew
I
that
wasn't.
I wasn't. Our grannies told us that we was Indians, so we always knew that we weren't Africans and stuff like that. But
I just knew I wasn't.
we watched, you know, shows like The Soul Train. Those all Negroes, and the black thing. They was doing that to us, but we're adults and we can open our minds more. And I think the situation maybe with Umar, somebody like Umar, is how, and he's probably praying on it. How can I revert this information to my people in the right way and redirect them in the right way? I can see him, um, you know, I can really see, hey, Creek, the link is in here, Creek. I can really see, let me put the link in there for Creek. I can see Umar transitioning his audience, because he has a large audience, to our true identity as a people here. I could see him doing that. And I could tell you this, if he ever does that, and the day he does that, it will be history, because that man is he would be a hell of a goddamn chief. That's you, Creek, right? Let me see you. That's Creek, because that Rob dude, he'll snapshot a picture of somebody's photo and avatar, and then he'll put up a hey, Creek, is that you on the piano in the back? Creek, turn your camera on real quick. Oh, good. Okay, you can turn it back off now, Creek. You don't have to leave it on if you don't want to. Everybody know you handsome.
I appreciate
I
you.
want to make sure. I just wanted to make sure that was you because
I
I got
appreciate you. Humbly appreciate that.
I just wanted to make sure. But what I was saying about Umar, and I really watch him. I still watch him. I watch him because I think when he speaks, he has that great voice of authority. Hey, Chief Eagle-Eye. He does. He has a great voice of authority. I could honestly say this. If he was to ever go to his audience and say, look, you guys, I made a mistake. I got to fix this. And I owe this to you. And he fixed them. He would be the baddest goddamn chief since we had a great Indian chief. I don't know. Let me see. We had some great Indian chiefs. We did. But that would be one brother that would be a badass Indian chief. I'm serious. If I didn't have Waya and I was looking for a tribe to join, and he opened up a tribe and became who he really is, I would join his tribe because he's smart. He's very educated and he would make a great chief, but it's just so sad that he is into this African shit. If he lose that shit and get right, he would be a bad dude. And I think probably the most humble person that he could speak with in YouTube that would have humbleness to him would be Dane, because they're really on great communication level. And I think if them two spoke and, you know, had conversations together in the back, they would, I think Dane would really be a great person to help him transition if that was something that he was thinking of doing. And also, Ali Muhammad.
Yes.
That
Yes.
brother,
Yes.
he's a bad dude. I
He is.
can't wait to get him on my channel to do a lecture. I really like his teaching. He is so intelligent, Ali Muhammad, and he knows who the hell he is.
Yes, he does.
He knows his history, and he's really, really intelligent. I really like his teaching. I don't have anything negative to say about that brother. That brother,
And he's doing things. He's doing a lot of different things.
Yeah. Yes, I have to give them shout outs to who deserve them, you know, because that brother's smart. When he come on, I watch his lectures. I mean, he don't always lecture about our history, but when he do, I'm tuned in. And then he tells he's a chemist. He, you know, tells you about different health things. So
he has a forensic lab.
I can believe it.
Yeah, he does.
He's highly intelligent. And I watched him that day when he was on Cinetis. He whooped their ass.
Yes.
He whooped their ass from the north to the south. And then back.
And he can talk the lingo too. You know what I mean? That's what's good about him. He knows how to talk. Come right down to that level.
They can't do nothing with him. Nothing. That brother was just he was amazing.
He's got a clothing line and everything.
Yeah, he got a lot of stuff for men's hair and all that different stuff. Yeah,
and a community. He has a community. Lives off the land.
Hey, Sister Bethy, that indoctrinated nigga is the hardest nigga to break. Everything is real.
I know that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Talk to him. Big dog.
What's going on, Creek? What you got
good,
for us
brother
today?
Creek? Hey, I appreciate you. He was on. He did a stream on my channel last night, Sister Bethy. Much love and respect to the brother.
Oh
Well,
yeah, I
Creek,
saw, but I fell asleep. I was so tired, and I was like, "Well, I'll be damned."
Oh, Gene, you have your channel back?
Yeah, he been at his channel back.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You talking about me?
No, OG.
Oh yeah.
No, ma'am. They struck. I'm on vacation again. They hit me again.
When?
like yesterday morning, but it wasn't for a Creek stream. It was for a stream I did before that.
Okay.
Yeah,
What
they
did they
censoring
hit
us
you with?
hard.
What did they hit you
Medical,
with?
medical.
Oh, I don't talk that on the channel.
Creek,
Yeah,
you have a channel?
Yes, ma'am. I do have.
And he got a new channel. What is your new channel again, Creek? Give me the link so I can put it in the chat. Oh, he done fell off. How you
Yeah, I
fall
do.
off, Creek?
Did I fall off? I'm here still. Can you see
Yeah.
me? Can you hear me?
Something stupid is happening to my system. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and drop the link for the new channel.
Yeah, put it in. I'm gonna put it in there because I subscribe to it. I don't know if you've seen it. I got your email.
Yeah, I'm right now it's under construction. So,
You got rid of the other one?
no, I just took all the videos down. I renamed it. Is what happened. So
Oh.
I still got some of the same subscribers, but I just wanted to change the frequency of what I was putting out, and and try to separate and put in categories what I was doing, because I was just doing too much and it was lumped up in one thing. So I just try to make separate channels for each one. So
Oh, okay.
I do talking points for the decoration, and then or status correction, if you will, and then what is considered to be, I guess, the redemption movement, or people call it the A for V. Like, it's a different name for all that stuff, but I put it all up under asset protection and business formation. So if you're
yeah,
trying to
he
set up
did
a
an excellent
business,
presentation last night. Thank you, brother.
I
Appreciate
appreciate that, brother. Humbly appreciate that, man.
What was it on?
Negro independence.
Okay.
Yeah, because yesterday was Independence Day, so I just threw a little spin on it and put the Negro independence on it, and just went in on what I do best, talking stuff about how independence came about. You know what I'm saying? Which is always usually like the first part of my presentation, talking about how we, went from, which is commonly real popular, about the pillage around what is that, the 1867, what is that, the 1877 Emancipation Proclamation. I couldn't think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, that is just right. To me, I think that's a turning point for history, and it's just been heavily misconstrued so much to the point where we just don't understand what that did to us right now. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was just start, because that was the start of the corporation. That was the form of the corporation, the establishment of the corporation, if you will. And then, of course, we know the bankers came in and bought everything and then switched it out. But I'm definitely gonna stay on that, because I see people talk about it a little bit. Shouts out to Bethy, definitely, because I've seen where a lot of some of the past seminar, or not seminars, or broadcast that you had was geared towards that, and you talk real good about some of the things that happened around that time, which is really a turning point for us in history. And it just needs to be talked about more excessively, because people don't understand. We just see the flag and say, oh, that's us, we the Confederates, but you have no idea around that time period what they did to do a switch and bait, and why we ended up like this.
Yeah.
And it was around that time when they start putting a stronghold on us, and reason why they got rid of Lincoln in the first place, because they wanted to take away any existence of so-called Negro Indians being owners of anything. And like you just read that earlier, that article, that was a jewel. I don't know if a lot of people, I've seen a couple fire emojis, but that was a jewel.
Which
Why
one?
would, when you just talked about the Africans, or they try to refer to us as being the Africans, but then they slipped up when they gave that address in that letter you wrote. You know what I'm saying? They literally talked about, it was two different people.
Yeah.
Like, we not the Africans. The Africans is over here, the Negroes is over here. Oh, wait a minute. I thought we was
Right.
the Africans.
Oh, yeah, you talking about
That was an ace card. That's an ace card.
the
Yeah, they
news
slipped up.
article. I got the whole newspaper. I said,
I would
oh,
like
this,
to have that. I would love
oh,
to
I
have
would
that if I can
definitely
get a
give
link
it
of
to
that.
you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I would love to
I'll
have
just
that.
email you the whole newspaper.
I would love it. Love it. I love it, because
Good
you
to
know,
have
I'm
the
a
whole
connoisseur
newspaper
when it
because you
comes to,
got the date on it and everything.
yeah, because I took a screenshot, but yeah, I'd love to have that whole thing.
Yep.
That was excellent. So
It's right there in the front there, and I'll make sure I email it to you. But
okay.
I'm like, well, I'll be damned. And I could see why the citizens was watching with a jealous eye. They had a jealous eye.
They still jealous.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got everything they thought they was gonna take away from us, and I mentioned that yesterday in the presentation I have on Big Dog Philly OG's channel. That they still jealous.
Yep.
We ain't got nothing. I mean, they literally swept the rug out from us and threw us up under the bus in the worst
Yeah.
way. And they
Yeah.
still jealous. They still trying to take any little piece of life we got left.
Yep.
And it
Yep.
just ain't. The thing is, they keep trying to put the nail in the coffin, but it ain't happening.
Yep.
So it really is our time right now. I tell people, man, right now is the best time more than
Yep.
anything to get together and put all the differences to the side. I think
Yep.
that's just imperative. We need to do that. It's mandatory. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Because they
That's a
going they
fact.
swinging already, but they just
Oh
trying to
yeah.
hit because they got their militia out. We're gonna talk more about that though. I ain't gonna change the whole
Yeah, I
narrative of
know.
the show because right now I just got a call from one of the chiefs, and with his permission, I'm gonna relinquish some of the information that we talked about because it's tied into things that was in the background. But
Hmm.
he's sitting on millions a million, like literally, if you was to liquidate it, it's more than a million, millions with an S of property all over the place, and
Mm.
they really trying to get in and like they've already knocked off one person. She was an editor, you know what
Oh,
I'm saying, murdered her. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a shame.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm gonna make a public
Terrible.
notice. We're gonna make a public notice about everything. But these fools is really clowning, especially down south.
Yeah.
They clowning. You know what I'm
oh
saying?
They,
yeah, yeah, the
Yeah.
clown down here, big time.
Yeah, they got their clown shoes on, but that's okay because we got the power of the ancestors, and it's already been
they gonna
written. We
get
got to
there.
win. Yeah, it's already been foretold. It's already been written in history that we gonna win.
Yep.
Because the thing is that you can't put out the type of negativity that they're doing and karma don't come back. There's
That's
a
right.
reaction for every action. So the thing
Facts.
is, we just have to invoke that, and we can't do that when we're not in our natural capacity. Can't be no Negro. We can't be civilly dead. We got to come up,
Right.
stand up to the plate. Once we do that, we don't even have to be friends with them. All we go to
Facts.
everybody outside of them and then take a vote. Start from India, start from Indonesia, going to all these other places that we know there's war-torn places from the United States and say, hey, who do y'all want to do business with? Us or them? I guarantee you they're gonna say us.
Yep.
I guarantee you that. Because
Oh,
I've
I
already
can
got that
agree.
approval. I've already got
I
that approval. Yeah.
I can agree. I can
Yeah.
believe that.
Yeah. So
And
they messing up bad relations, but just as easy as it was in they head for them to get it, it's just as easy as the way to go away. See, that's why they
mhm.
so scared about every little thing. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? They see one person talking on the YouTube and they spending thousands of dollars to stop one little channel on here, whether it's Philly Dog OG or me or AP or whoever it is, what I mean? They spend focus all that attention on one little person. And that's why they
Yeah.
don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know how valuable the voice is. One person speaking can make all this stuff go away. Literally.
Yep.
Literally.
Yeah.
They know
And
that.
it's sad. It's sad that we don't have additional people, that's
Hmm.
educated. We have Dane, we have Holiday, we
Right.
have Ab Power, Ab TV, Empress Holbert, but
Right.
you I'm speaking, like a strong voice. Omar, it's real
Mhm.
sad that we don't have him.
You know what?
But
We just gonna let
I
that.
can see
I
that. I can
I see
see
what.
that
Yeah.
change coming in him. I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah.
I
You know
can
what's
really
gonna
see
happen?
it.
You know what's gonna happen? The ancestors gonna tap in. And
Yeah.
because we definitely because you look at it right now, the movement that we put together, what I'm saying, is just being broadcast on YouTube and in some cases maybe a podcast here and there. Okay. So, but like I just brought this up yesterday, and it's a good point. Look at it like something outside of us is a force that's making all this go in one direction. It's not
Yeah.
everything. All roads don't just lead to these YouTube channels. Sure, we got a voice and we put together channels, and when we come together, it's beautiful and we making things happen. But I don't think it's limited to that. And the whole thing is
Yeah.
that I don't think people see the whole picture. Is that who is behind the scenes moving this stuff? If a lot of our stuff ain't going no further than the state, how is the government at shambles right now? How? If we ain't stepping up to where we feel like because we got some more growing to do, but once we get up to that level that we know we become a force, who's fighting this fight for us right now? That's a good question. Who is it?
Yeah.
Because something's
Hmm.
getting done. A
Um,
lot of stuff is getting done behind the closed doors.
yeah. A lot of stuff. And
That part.
it really brings me to this shit. It's bad. Look at the article. Police departments hiring non-citizen immigrants.
Oh,
While most police
That's illegal.
departments, while most police departments in the county in the country require their police officers to be U.S. citizens. Some do not, with the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department in Tennessee being the latest large department to consider such a policy. A spokesman for the department, Don Aaron, said it seeks to hire immigrants who have been honorably discharged from the U.S. military to be eligible for police service. Now, wait a minute. Does that make any fucking sense? You're a non-citizen, but
Sister Bethy,
yes,
that's all they've been doing all along. All the people that's in that position mainly are foreigners. So they letting more foreigners come in. But I understand and agree with what you're saying. They don't make no sense. But that's what
right.
they've been doing. A
A
repeated
spokes,
cycle.
yeah, a spokes,
Foreigners is doing this. But go
yeah,
ahead, sister.
a spokesman for the department, Don Aaron, said it seeks to hire immigrants who have been honorably discharged from the U.S. military to be eligible for police services, USA Today reported. Persons who have given of themselves in the service to this country potentially have much to offer Tennesseans, Aaron said. We feel that would benefit both the country and this city. Presently, only U.S. citizens can become law enforcement officers in Tennessee. However, about 5,000 permanent residents who aren't citizens join the U.S. military each year. How do you join a military if you're not a fucking U.S. citizen? More than 92,000 people who joined the military before becoming citizens achieved their citizenship during their service in 2011. The prohibition
It's
could change.
it's called the once they say that Pledge of Allegiance, Sister Bethy, that
uh,
puts them in.
That prohibition could change if a bill currently in Tennessee state legislature passes. It's House bill introduced in the House by Representative Jason Powell, a Democrat, and a champion bill, Senate Bill 1012, introduced by Senator Stephen Dickerson, who's a Republican of Nashville, would permit any permanent legal resident of the United States who is an honorably discharged veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces to be employed as a police officer. My assertion is that if you're willing to risk your life on the streets of Baghdad, then you should be allowed to serve your city and risk your life helping to protect Lower Broadway, Powell told the Tennessean newspaper on March 11th. The Tennessean reported that Metropolitan Nashville Police Chief Stephen Anderson asked Powell to file the legislation needed to make the change in policy. I wonder how the police union are going to accept this.
How? But listen to this.
Anderson,
If they shoot somebody, then how does that work legally?
I don't know. Anderson, what they're giving him power. Anderson told state legislators.
And Sister Bethy, let me say this real quick, because I'm a vet. And so I think the brother Creek is. They used to hire veterans. They cut back on that a long time ago because we had the military background. You know, I could have been a police officer or border patrol when I first got out. I chose not to. But yeah, they used to do it more back then than they doing it now. Now they allow these foreigners to come in and basically become law enforcement officers.
Control.
That's crazy.
They can control them.
Yes, ma'am.
Anderson, and then they go into Anderson told state legislators that the increasing diversity in Nashville also increases the need for a diverse police force. Here in Nashville, we can't keep all of Nashville safe unless we can keep all of Nashville safe, Anderson said. Having communities or pockets of Nashville where there's not confidence in us or where we don't have the relationship or the communication affects all of Nashville. Anderson did not explain why members of the ethnically diverse communities he mentioned could not become citizens first and then join the police force. The Tennessean cited Powell's statement that though he's not heard any statements in opposition to the bill, he did have to answer some questions about whether illegal immigrants would be eligible to apply for jobs as police officer if the bill passes. Though the U.S. military has a pilot program allowing a small number of illegal immigrants to join, Powell said his bill applies only to permanent residents who are here legally. Powell explained that when non citizen permanent residents join the military, they start on a track to earn their citizenship, a process that can take as long as 5 years. 2 or 3 largest police departments in the nation currently allow non citizens to apply for positions as police officer. The Chicago Police Department, which with about 12,244 officers is the nation's second largest, currently hire non citizens. The answer to an frequently asked questions on the department's websites inquire about whether a non citizen may apply states yes, as long as you have an employment authorization document from U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Proof, such as an alien registration card, which is a green card, will be required if you are called for further processing. The third largest department in the nation, Los Angeles Police Department, requires that police officer candidate who is not a citizen be a permanent resident alien who meets the citizenship requirements of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services and has applied for citizenship. Each non citizen is required to prove that USCIS has accepted her application for citizenship prior to the date the police officer applicant's written test is taken. This shit, now, and knowing this, let me see, looking at our history, about the same time that large number of Irish immigrants began joining our nation's police forces in the mid 1800s. Many Irish immigrants served on both sides in the Civil War, with 170,000 in the Union Army and 40,000 fighting for the Confederacy. A major difference, however, especially in the North, was that these Irish immigrants had first achieved citizenship, a status that made them eligible for the military draft. The draft became so unpopular that anti draft riots erupted in New York, especially in Irish neighborhoods. This created an ironic paradox. While most of those engaged in the 1863 New York draft riots were Irish, so were many of the police putting down the riots. New York and other large American cities have always welcomed immigrants on their police forces, but asking that these immigrants first achieve citizenship seems like sensible requirement. And with this being said, and known, oh shit, that's Anthony. Sorry, Anthony. With this shit being said, now that Pookie and Ray Ray reading this shit, they gonna start back fighting these immigrants. This shit is gonna be horrible. It's gonna get really, really bad. They're really, really trying to start a fucking war, if you really ask me. And it's just gonna be real ugly. Really, really ugly.
It's going to get worse because you could be giving these jobs to us, or our employment been down for
How
forever.
many of
Why they
our
won't
people?
hire?
How many of our people are really trying to go in their police forces?
It's plenty of them, Sister Bethy.
Really?
Look, if you look at, listen, if you look at a lot of the press conferences, it's our people that's been in charge, that's running it on top positions
They're the
right
face
now.
of it. It is very dangerous.
That's a fact.
And I just see something terrible happen randomly, like these like that crazy shooting that took
Bro,
place
I'm
in
on live right now. I'm on live on YouTube. I'm at
like
hit
that
you back.
crazy shooting that took place
I'll
in
hit you right back. I'll
Baltimore.
hit you back when I get done.
At they were having
I'm on
the
live. I'll take
community
you
day.
later. Okay.
Hey, you got a hot
Oh, wait a
mic,
minute,
man. You got a hot
let
mic.
me see. I got him. He didn't know. He probably wasn't aware. But that crazy shooting in Baltimore on 4th of July, what 28 people injured and 2 dead, random shootings, they started bucking. And what comes to my mind is those guys in the mask. uh, if they're in there, if they were walking amongst with those masks on and they're really white with these masks on looking like us and doing this shit. Because I mean, who shoots out in a community day event? That's like really questionable to me. When you know that you can harm a little child or something. Are these and this is why I really hope that the young men in our community, whether they're in gangs, whether they're in the Latino communities or in our communities, that they start waking up and thinking, maybe it wasn't them that shot us. Maybe it was these foreigners with these masks on, looking like they're black men, but they're really not. They're people literally putting on masks, and you're thinking it's some black guy when it's really that guy in a mask. I don't trust it, and I just really think that it's going to get really ugly. I do. Hi, Anthony.
Peace to the panel, peace to the guys, peace, everyone on the panel. I was
Peace, peace.
listening, and you was talking about as far as in Tennessee, have they're having immigrants become citizens, and I've studied a lot of the Internal Revenue Code. I've also used it in my court cases that I've won as well, because all of the crimes according to United States codes are commercial, which means business. That's why the feds only get involved according to if you make over $10,000 in a penny. Well, actually, 9,999.99. If you make anything over that, then it has to be sent over as a currency transaction report, because it's illegal to have that much money physically. So, and according to the Internal Revenue Code, resident means that you're not from here. So we have to change our verbiage. We are not residents. We're not
Facts.
tenants. We're not squatters. A resident means that you're not a United States citizen or you're a foreigner
By default. That's
by
what needs to
default. And
change,
that's
because it needs to be. We think that it's automatic, but it's not. It's by default because we don't say anything.
thank you.
Right.
And it's also voluntary, because if you do not, according to the Internal Revenue Code, I'm going to give you the code 7701 Section B.
Facts.
If you are paying taxes, you're saying you're a foreigner. We need to address that. We've been doing things for so long, so wrong. And I think this is just a correction era. That's all. And we got to be a little bit more lenient against being so harsh against our brothers and sisters if they're through their journey and they being a little hard headed.
I tried to
But
do
yeah.
it.
Oh, it's hard. It's hard because they hard headed. It is. It's like re-raising a child.
Here's that article. I'll put it in the chat room in case no one's had a chance to see it. But that's the article that I just read. It's like I don't know what this world is going to come to. But right now, my focus is just that Indian, not text. All these Negroes running around speaking any language. We still speaking the damn Indian language, as far as I'm concerned.
It'll be a good strategic move, and it's gonna get to that. I'm just putting it out ahead of time that we're gonna have to file a claim against that Indian name, because that's a misclassification that
It is.
they created, that basically took you out of your natural name, your natural hereditary, so to speak. Okay, your hereditary, they're wiping away your hereditary, doing a switch and bait, making you somebody that's not that don't qualify for your own hereditary, but then with a double forked tongue, they telling the rest of the world, see, they don't even want none of this stuff. They don't want to be Indian. They don't want to be any of that. That's exactly what they're doing. I talk to, I got vendors, internationally, and then when I make it a point to talk to them about their opinion or whatever it is, this politics is different compared to here. They understand a lot that what we're going through because they know what we up against. But and it's mixed emotions because they try to display who we are on TV and radio, you know what I'm saying, and we only get that one story. A lot of people only get that one story. They don't see that we got some intelligent brothers here that are trying to disassociate themselves with this de facto system / government, if that's what you want to call it, government. It's all de factoism. I just went into that yesterday. The reason why is we need to start there. Like the brother just brought up the codes. For whatever reason why, it just spooks out a lot of people when you start talking about law. Then they want to try to find another way to do it outside of that. But that's really the missing piece into the puzzle. That's the part that we need to start learning. We need to start learning a little bit at a time. Just chew a little bit every day until you get it. And then when you get it digested, then I guarantee you, because right now they're running out of.
Oh, you must be telling something good because you faded completely out. You must be giving some hot information, Creek.
They said, nope, we don't want him to say that.
See? This is what they don't want. I can't believe it.
And it happens all the time.
Basically, what the brother was going to say, we need to learn more about law. The way our people believe in the Bible, we need to start learning law and forgetting about that Bible, that Quran, all that, and learn law. But I'll let him speak for himself.
You there, Creek? He got a oh, he done fell off. Damn.
Anthony, do you have a channel too? Does Anthony have?
I just wanted to check on you real quick. I do, but I'm mostly a gamer, so but I usually go on Sister Bethy's, Powers, A1's, or Chief Holiday's channel.
Okay.
So, in saying law, if any of you are watching, those who have donated for me to file the lawsuit, you'll be getting a link this week for Sunday to come in so we can talk about the lawsuit that I'm filing that you guys helped me raise the money to do. You will get a personal link. Do not share that link because everybody that comes in, I already know who donated. I have your emails, and you will be checked at the door. Only ones that are coming in, are those that donated to help pay for me to file the lawsuit. I'm not letting anybody else in but those people. And it is what it is. So you'll get a link for to come in for Sunday, and it's going to be Sunday at 6 p.m. That gives the West Coast time because it's 3:00 their time. So you'll get that link as promised this weekend. So we did good raising that money to pay for the entire damn filing, which is 400 something bucks. So we raised it really quick too. But still, we need to go in there and talk. And so that's why I'm having you all come in Sunday. So keep that note on your calendar. So that being said, they get rid of Creek quick. He done fell off. Anybody have any closing statements?
I'm just shout out you. Much love and respect you and the family always. Much love.
Big Dog, how long is your channel down for? A week? They gave you another week?
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
That's why I don't talk about that kind of shit on the panel.
Yeah,
and
I've been trying to, monitor, tone it down, but that ain't even been working.
Yeah, but people on the panel. People just
Yeah, but you see,
jump on your
I don't
panel
mind
and know
being
it.
I don't mind being muted when you're doing your presentation. You see, I don't pop in and say very much. You know,
No,
I
I'm
keep
just
it
saying
respectful. No,
that
I'm
I
just
think
saying.
people disrespectful to you when they come on and openly talk about that. I remove them immediately from the
Yes,
panel
ma'am.
and say, look, don't talk about that. And I think people genuinely and seriously do that purposely so they can get your channel strike. That's why very wary on who I let on my channel because people are evil and they're just ugly and they're just
Yes,
mean.
yes.
To be honest, Sister Bethy, they're just censoring us to where we can't really talk about too much
Yeah.
in my eyes. But yeah, much respect. Thank you for letting me up. It's always,
But I
a
thought that they
pleasure.
said that it's okay to talk about that now. Didn't they
Not
send
by
something out?
all three of my strikes. Well, see, I played the video of Tucker Carlson and JFK Jr. So that may have
Oh, okay.
been the reason they hit me. I played that interview with that Tucker Carlson did on JFK Jr.
Oh, okay. That's probably what it was. Oh, I don't like
Yeah,
them. No,
Oh
yeah, and
yeah, they'll
I
strike you
yeah,
for that. They mad at
yeah,
Tucker.
yeah, Tucker and other one because he's a non pokey wokey. Y'all know what I mean. He's against it, period, and has
yeah.
been against it for over 30 or 40 years.
Mm. Hmm. I don't like. Well, no, it's not Tucker Carlson. I do like Tucker Carlson. I'm sorry. It's Brian Kilmeade. I just think he's just I can't stand him.
What's his last name?
Brian Kilmeade from the news.
Oh no, I don't watch none of them.
Yeah, I smash the like button, y'all. Just remember this, y'all. This is what I have to say in closing. I'm showing you primary source information, and clearly, you know, it understand that it makes no sense that your ancestor was an Indian, okay, and then you turned into a Negro, a colored, a black, a Afro American, which is a goddamn hairstyle, Afro. Okay. Um, all these racial classifications. It makes no sense that this, how are your granny and grandpa, all these things. And you see the article clearly of us not speaking anything but Indian languages. Okay. And how did you become, from being who you really were when they got here? And then they named you Indian, and then they named you a colored, and then you know mulatto. If you mixed with a white person, you became all these except who you originally were, and it makes no sense. And then these uh, presidents and CEOs opening up these newly opened um, African American museums. Okay, with the people are historic people that they have hanging up on the walls. None of them, in the time that they were here, identified as African Americans. Why? Because it didn't exist, and they were never called Africans. For the most part, they were called Negroes and coloreds. All right, color being a shorting of copper color Indians, copper color races. They shortened it and then just called us colored because we are the copper colored races found here by the Europeans. And that's a fact. Understanding that. They just took off copper and left color. That's how they distinguished us from the white people, the Indians from the whites. It's in the definition clearly. Noah Webster know what the hell he was talking about. He ain't stupid. That man is not going to put that in. That's you, Anthony. I wonder why I didn't steal his time. Anthony, turn your camera on real quick in the back. and then you could turn it back off. I just want to make sure it's you and not Rob copying. Okay, you can turn it off, hon. I see.
He does that.
You can
He
turn
does
it back
that.
off. Oh yeah, you can turn it off now.
That's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. He'll copy. He'll make a picture, a snapshot of somebody's avatar that
Oh my goodness.
that's in the chat, and then we'll come up on the panel, and it's some black guy showing his personal parts. A porn bomb. They did that the other day when Dane was on the panel with me, and Dane, I caught it
Oh,
really quick, and Dane, helped me. He told me to make it private and clip it out, and that's what I did
jeez.
because
Don't make no sense.
he was dropping Jews. That's what it was. Dane had came in here and dropped Jews, and so that's when we got the porn bomb. So, but I got it off. But the information that we have, you clearly see who the Indian originally was. And we spoke all the Indian, like it said, we spoke nothing but Indian language. That's all we ever spoke. And, these African American um, presidents and CEOs, they need to be sued. Actions need to be brought against them because the people that they have hanging up on these walls in these museums, who are our historic people, the Tuskegee men never identified as African Americans, and they never identified as when they registered for the services, they didn't register as African Americans. They registered, they were Negro or colored troops. Colored troops. Nothing to do. And they're the ones who spoke the damn Indian languages. Nothing but Indian languages. So you have to understand. Harriet Tubman, if she exists, she never identified as no damn African American. Rosa Parks did not identify as an African American. African American is a racial classification that came out in 1988. I was just out of high school when that came out. And none of these leaders that are on the wall ever identify as African American. Matter of fact, Jesse Jackson and all their asses didn't identify as African American. Prior to that, they were Negroes and coloreds. And it's a damn shame.
It is.
It's a damn shame what they have done. They can bring over all the damn immigrants they want, but after a while, Pookie and Ray Ray is not going to put up with their shit being bullied by these people who are trained in their countries to be militia people. After a while, Pookie and Ray Ray is not gonna, but for so long, put up with this shit. And I'm serious, and it's just gonna be very ugly. These young men in our hoods, they don't give a damn. They will kill you. And if you have to bring immigrants over here, that means there's not enough of your fucking asses over here.
Yep. Yep. So they got to go outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what homeboy said. It's to me, if you have to do that, it's not enough of your asses over here. And that's a fact. What you got, Anthony? You want to close out? This man knew what the hell
I was
he
just
was
gonna
talking
say
about.
about Sister Bethy, if you needed any assistance with your lawsuit and everything, just let me know. I don't.
I got your email, right? And your phone number, right? I got it, right?
I believe so. Hmm. Yeah, I got some new things to update on as well. As far as legally, what's happening with our people, it's so much. Our people are just getting bamboozled all around.
Yeah.
Yes. And somebody got to say enough is enough. Just
Yeah.
for I have a someone that I'm assisting with paying a property management company, and their father is still the actual owner of the property, and they paying rent to a property manager, and the property manager is trying to evict them, and the father still owns the property. It's
What?
so much scamming going on.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Oh my God.
Terrible.
It's not on there. They scamming us out of birthrights. They're scamming us out of name. They're scamming us out of taxes. They're supposed to pay taxes, not us.
Well, I will send you, I will give you a call and send you the link to come in Sunday, because we're going to have the meeting Sunday with all the people that donated so that we could file this lawsuit. But
And send me the link again. I will donate as well. You know, I don't want no special privileges or anything. I'm not saying you are, but I do appreciate it.
Oh, okay, sweetheart, I will. The the beautiful thing about it, it's enough of us for each one of us to file lawsuits against these. We can hit the 50 states easy, because each person's in a different state, and each person, all it takes is one to file a lawsuit against a president of a particular African American museum that's writing lies about our history. This wasn't no damn Africans, and your newspapers clearly tell you who the Negro is, and you're not going to make him an African.
That is correct. I also know the Detroit Urban League is doing. I mean, the Urban League is doing it as well, saying changing African Americans.
Yeah,
name,
so
and like you said, it's Tuskegee Airmen.
Yeah, and I'm like, these are the people that we have to file lawsuits against. They're not state connected. They're private. Some of them are private owners of these museums, and we can file lawsuits against their ass, because that's harmful to my child and my grandchildren.
It's colonization, and it's also propaganda. Propaganda.
Yeah.
Yep. There's many ways that we can do this, and we can begin filing individual in our states. All it takes is one person. We need 50 people. That's 50 lawsuits in 50 different states against 50 presidents of these goddamn museums. You got to make the numbers work.
And it becomes federal. Yes, that is correct.
You got to make the numbers work. Do it, each one. And we're going to have to do it. A lot of these people are from the damn islands coming in here doing this bullshit. I'm like, no, you won't.
I'm glad you said that, Sister Bethy, because a lot of them are law enforcement. A lot of them are in the jail cells, and a lot of them are claiming to be us and in these positions of power as chiefs and things of that nature, as far as chief of police, chief of staff. They're not even us, which is complete treason.
Yes.
And also, I have to tell people, I'm sorry. People might get upset at Orange Man and Trump, but you should remember everybody was around Trump back in the day.
I'm not upset with Trump. I'm not.
I'm not talking about you, sister. Yeah, because Sister Bethy, he's telling the truth. Now you seeing why he say build the border, because they just bringing everybody over here and usurping everything from us. We got to start paying attention and stop putting a racial tone to everything.
Yeah, I'm telling
we're under attack.
Yes, indeed.
And also the Tuskegee Airmen, I met with Channing Frye, the NBA player. I met his great grandfather, who was a Tuskegee Airman in 1992 at the Cobo Hall here in Detroit. And they did not. I had a chance to personally talk with them. They do not call themselves African American. They said Negro or Indian. That's literally what they said.
Yep, that's the truth. You seen Django? Why would he even say I'm a good Indian?
I'm a good Indian.
Honest Indian. That was so funny. I was cracking up. I hope he get an Oscar for that part, because he played that damn part. Samuel Jackson.
Oh,
he played the hell out that part.
Yeah,
I'm serious. I was laughing so hard. Me and Willie was in here dying, and he told Django, "I'm an honest engine."
And don't forget, he was actually the one running the house.
Yeah,
right. Exactly. He could talk all kinds of shit to Master.
Keeping the books and everything.
I was laughing. Leonardo DiCaprio played his part too.
Yes,
he played his part. Leonardo DiCaprio played his damn part. But I'm sorry, I've never laughed at a scene where somebody was killed. And I think that's probably the first scene that I ever laughed at when somebody got killed, and it was just because the way Samuel Jackson was holding Leonardo DiCaprio and the way his face looked when he was crying. Me and Willie was laughing so hard. That shit was hilarious. But there's some true shit to that.
Yes, it is. And I also have to tell a lot of things too.
Remember he was speaking Creek?
He was. That's what I was just about to say. He was speaking Creek. Yes. Yes, he was. And funny on that, you know, movies like that, especially they're messing with our brother Jonathan Majors. The one that played in Harder They Fall. And he was in the up and coming new movie, and shout out to Alabama. He was bringing to my attention that he had narrated some different readings from Frederick Douglass. So we're on attack on all levels. Because the only way they can, that's the one with the girlfriend accused him of abuse, and they actually got it on camera that she did it to herself. From Marvel, the guy from Marvel, that played Kang the Conqueror.
Oh snap!
He also played with Idris Elba. I can't remember the guy's name that looked like what's his name? Marlon. No, that's not his name. He played in Crooklyn, the dad from Crooklyn, playing Bass Reeves and things of that nature. It was a black cowboy movie. Harder They Fall. And he was in it.
Oh.
I gotta check it out. I gotta go look that up. But I know the name. I don't know why I know the name that you're telling me.
He played in Creed 3 as well.
Creed 3.
He played the opposite of Michael B. Jordan. He was the guy that Michael B. Jordan was fighting at the end.
Oh, I gotta see that. I gotta go look at that. But yeah, I really relaxed my mind yesterday. I watched movies with Willie, and you know, we watched Django. I watched that. I don't know how many times I watched Django, but just to see it, every time I see it, I find something different in the movie. And I watched what was it? Some movie, some superhero movies. Willie always watching this shit. I think it's Aquaman, some shit.
Oh, with Jason Momoa? Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
No, they was all living under the damn water.
Yeah, that's Aquaman. Yeah, it's my favorite one. That's the best movie DC then made because they can't touch Marvel.
Yeah, they took he went under the water, and his brother, he was a half brother.
Right, the older brother was a half brother. Yep. The older brother was a half brother, but he was actually the heir to the throne because he is the re-embodiment of the first man that lived on the land before they sunk into the land. The one with the long hair.
I was just like, wow, Atlantis. So I'm like, and then the mother, you know, those creatures, and then it turned out the mother had on one of them outfits because they didn't kill her. She said somebody saved her, and it was really good. It was good. It was good. I thought I never saw that before, but I sat there and watched it, and I'm usually not one to watch that stuff. But then now I watch all these movies with Willie. I see where a lot of these niggas smoke weed and they start believing that shit to be true and all this. And I'm like, there you go. You on this, leave the weed alone for real. But the idea of the structures under the water, it just brings me to A1. He's gonna find that video. He told me to go look on his channel, but that man got so many goddamn videos. But he did one 4 years ago. He did one really great one. That was my favorite of all them damn structures under the water. And it just freaked me out. It still freaks me out to this day.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know that the land masses are actually still connected. There's no such thing as Pangea. Pangea as far as the continental drift, everything just flooded.
Yeah. But when
the
I
sea
see
level
that,
rose.
I'm like,
That's why we have mountains.
Are you serious? I mean, I seen irrigation under the water.
Yes.
And I'm like, wow. I'm like, what are they doing with a pipe under the water? And then
There's a lot of things under there.
It's like in ancient times. I'm like, wait a minute, I see the pipe. So,
what they say, there's nothing new under the sun?
I guess not.
So now we got to look. Now I'm just gonna say something. It might be controversial, but we got to look at it too. When people back in the old days were saying, according to the Bible days, they were saying they were hearing voices. Hey, artificial intelligence always been around.
Yep.
Gotta think about it.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
But I'm about to get up out of here. It's going on 3 hours, and I said I was going to do 1 hour. Look at 10 minutes. It's going to be 3 hours. So I'm going to get off of this because I'm getting invited to a meeting tonight with Cuddy. He invited me to a meeting, so I'm going to go to that. And
I will see you there, Sister Betsy.
Oh, good. Okay. So I'm going to get on up out of here.
All right. Bye, Sister Betsy.
I love y'all. And smash
peace,
the like
everyone.
button.
Nice meeting you, Lisa.
Yeah,
Sister
nice
Lisa.
meeting you too. Hope to see you again.
Smash the like button on the way out. Love y'all. I'm out.
Long live Ag.
Yeah.
How you so?
These are my memoirs. Light up a cigar, smoke up the memories as I sit and dust them off. Why do people say it's just to piss you off? Ignore them, no call button, and then dress too par. Now they can't test the guards, had to defy the odds. It only get tougher back then. We thought times was hard. Told them don't write me off. Told her don't type at all. To all the ones that gave up, this a reply to y'all. That wavy haired kid that you knew been on a tear since. The cries was lower than the laughter. Now that I'm hearing the praise for staying committed to something they played with. It was always about us, it's never about who's your favorite. Took my insecurities and made my future more secure. The way we moving, it's like we really been here before. The proof is in the progress from the year before. Furthermore, we wanted to further things more. They took another route, so what you think we kings for? No angel ever said, yo, who these wings for? Ain't no champion ever said, who these rings for? So don't question what God doing, who you live for. Start accepting